Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome in. This is FST Fantasy Sports Today. My name is Matt Striker. His name is Joe Pisapia, and this is the place if you want to dominate, whether it be season long, DFS, straight up wagering, we've got you covered. Just a reminder, at SportsGrid and at SportsGrid TV, those are our social media handles. Just double check that you're following along because all this information will live there. Joseph, my friend, we're going to talk some baseball. We're going to talk some football. I am excited. Welcome in. How are you?
I'm great, baby. Hour two. We're going to talk about some NFL league winners this year. That's right, baby. Oh, come on, baby. Yeah, we're in hour two. This is when things like I wish I had the megaphone. I really do. I wish I had the mullet and the megaphone. And you got to respect Jimmy Hart. I mean, he's got to be what, like 70s, right? At this point, mid to late 70s, perhaps?
Yeah.
Easily.
Nice man.
He looks great. He's still, the hair is still up there. It's super high. I mean, I got to say, God bless that man. He still, I saw a great shot of him. It was at a local show where he was setting up chairs. And that's a guy that loves this. That's a guy that loves wrestling. Like, he's out there, 70 years old. He's setting up the chairs for the event. He doesn't care. He's just happy to be out there performing. I love that, man. He is a beautiful human. All right. Well, also a beautiful human, Matt Striker. Me, not so much. Clayton Kershaw, he's a beautiful human. He's working his way back here for the Dodgers. We hope 3 innings in his first rehab start, coming back from shoulder issues, but a little bit of a snag potentially. Feeling a little soreness in the shoulder. Now, that is to be expected. First rehab start, shoulder issues, hasn't pitched in a while. So, okay, let's just watch this one carefully and see if there's any setbacks. The Dodgers can ill afford to lose any more people. They need the Clayton Kershaws of the world to come back here. They need some help losing Mookie Betts, losing Muncy, losing Buehler, who we'll get to in a second. They're losing a lot of stuff. And what you don't want to do is start losing games if you're the Dodgers. That's the last thing you want, especially with the Padres starting to get healthy and Jackson Merrill looking like, one of the best hitters on the planet. Kyle Tucker, hopefully, is going to begin doing baseball activities this week. Now, what those activities are, I don't know. Maybe some running, maybe some swinging of the bat, maybe a helmet Sunday. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, it could also be just eating a hot dog with your feet up in the seat in front of you. Those are baseball activities as well.
Baseball activities, when you run around on the bat, you spin around really fast and you try to run, base. Lots of fun potential baseball activities out there for you.
Yep, absolutely. Baseball activities, though, it is encouraging to say the least, especially for a player like Kyle Tucker. Houston really needs that bat, as do a lot of wagerers as well, Joe.
So hopefully I'm back here now, and we're back here rock and roll.
Yes.
Zach Gallen is scheduled to throw a simulated game this week. That's very important for the Arizona Diamondbacks. More of the Diamondbacks in this hour, too, because I got a name for you coming up in the waiver wire segment that I think people should be ahead of. And he's a Diamondback, or could be a Diamondback very soon.
Yeah, right.
But Zach Gallen being, the ace of the staff, they need him back for sure, desperately. So hopefully we get him back sooner than later in that simulated game. That means simulated game, you're probably looking at another 2 weeks or so if everything goes well with that hamstring, which it should. Luckily, it's not an arm issue. What a nice change of pace. Yu Darvish is going to be back next week, too. Tuesday is what he's earmarked for to return for the Padres, so that's huge. They're going to get Darvish back. Joe Musgrove working his way back from that bone chip. That's also very important, too. Getting 2 big pitchers back in your rotation. Don't look now, but the Padres could be an annoying team in that West the rest of the season. More injury news, because, again, it's Major League Baseball, so we get a lot of it. C.J. Abrams is day-to-day after an MRI showed a ganglion cyst on his wrist that's been bothering him. Kodai Senga threw another bullpen session on Wednesday. Apparently this week we're going to ramp things up. We'll see how that goes. Kodai Senga, they told us, would come back in, early May. It is now the end of June.
In 2024, he'll be back.
Yeah, right. We'll see you in 2025, folks. He'll be back in May. Kyle Bradish won't be back in 2025 at all. He'll miss the entire season and the rest of this one after having Tommy John surgery. The surgery was a success. And then Walker Buehler was placed on the IL for, and I'm going to use air quotes for this, hip inflammation. But really, he's being put on the IL because he's been terrible. So this is one of those classic, he doesn't have hip inflammation. He got hit with a ball. He has a 5.5 ERA. Things have gone terribly here over 8 starts for him. In fact, that ERA is approaching 6 right now for Walker Buehler. A 1.54 ERA. This is a sad situation here because Walker Buehler a couple years ago was one of the most coveted assets in your dynasty keeper leagues, right? Walker Buehler, future ace of the Dodgers, a guy that looked like a further rotation starter that would be locked in for the next decade. And injuries have really derailed him. Hopefully, we were thinking maybe we can get him back this year, healthy, things would go better. So far, they have not. So perhaps this clearing of the head, perhaps this time away and then restart will be what Walker Buehler needs. But this, if you're thinking this is a real IL stint, you're crazy. This has nothing to do with injury right now. If it was, they would have put him on for an arm injury. They put him on with the hip because things are not going well. So whether it's mechanics, whether it's velocity, whether it's fatigue, whether he's just can't be the same pitcher, it's also a stark reminder, too, that not everybody comes back from major injuries like Tommy John and regains the same form. It's something to think about next year with the McClanahans and the Sandy Alcantaras and the Kyle Bradishes in 2 years from now and the myriad of other pitchers who have had this surgery. So what do you make of the Walker Buehler situation? Because if you're the Dodgers right now, Gavin Stone's pitched very well. You're fine leaving him in the rotation. Knack has come out, made some spot starts for the Dodgers so far. Yeah. But those guys might not be long-term solutions. So what do you do if Kershaw and Buehler don't come back? Are the Dodgers World Series hopes dashed before they even start?
Wow. Gosh, I wouldn't go that far because I just think that the Dodgers have shown that they have the resources to go out and field a competitive team. But overall, and I had mentioned it earlier, the wagering landscape is really impacted when you don't fully understand what the Dodgers are. Remember, we're always looking for consistency. We know what the Yankees are. If we knew what the Dodgers were, we'd have a much more consistent landscape to be able to wager within those understandings. But when one of the pillars, very public Dodger team, becomes wobbly, uncertain, and volatile, it changes a lot. You had mentioned how the Padres are a team to watch. Yes, they are. Certainly when it looks to wagering, when you try to find them in some plus money run line situations, you might want to look for the fallout from the Dodger volatility, but you're talking about a lot of the pitching questions, a lot of the injury questions. Look for that fallout to impact a team like the Padres. Or maybe you can look to the NL Central and try to make heads or tails of what's going on there. Mm-hmm. Overall, it's just concerning to me, Joe, when one of these pillars become volatile because it makes the entire wagering landscape incredibly risky.
Tyler Glasnow has been a pillar. He has been Cy Young worthy. Yamamoto on the IL. We don't know when he's coming back, how he comes back. Walker Buehler on the IL. We don't know how he comes back, when he comes back. Clayton Kershaw on the IL. We don't know how he comes back, when he comes back. Bobby Miller, who just came back, has a 6 ERA on the year. Maybe we want him to go back away. Is James Paxton and Tyler Glasnow the guys you're hanging your hopes and dreams of a World Series on if you're a Dodger fan right now?
So what do you do?
I think the Dodgers are going to hold steady through June into the All-Star break and see how things go with Buehler and Kershaw and Yamamoto and see how the news goes and how everyone's feeling. But this is a team that is all in. And I know Ohtani comes back in this rotation next year, but you've got to be kicking the tires on some other starter somewhere soon. And it's going to be fast and furious. And hopefully they don't wait too long because some of those better guys, other teams might be more aggressive. I think the Dodgers are going to be patient for a couple weeks. But right after the All-Star break, if news isn't going in their direction in a favorable manner, I think the Dodgers are in a little bit of trouble. And I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here. Matt knows I've never been a public money Dodger guy. We talk about it every year. I was like, I'll believe it when I see it. But Mookie Betts out, all these pitchers being out. This is the worst case scenario right now for the Dodgers. And we'll see how it works out. We come back. We're going to try to fix your fantasy team with the guys off the waiver wire and a guy at AAA you might want to add. We'll return right after this.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Rory Mack, it is going to be remembered. It will be a lasting image from the 2024 United States Open, just like Bryson DeChambeau's 55-yard bunker shot.
We love big-time winners. Like, you win a championship, we want to hear from you. You get the stage. Sometimes it's emotional. It's a great watch. We know we also love the losers who said, you know what, I just can't believe I folded down the stretch. Let me face the music here. You sort of get a new light there.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Great.
All right, FST Fantasy Sports today. Matt and Joe giving you everything you need in order to dominate. It's time now. And again, each and every week I say it's the most important segment that we do. And I firmly believe it because as the season goes on, this information becomes more and more valuable. It's time for the FST MLB waiver wire. We're looking at players. For the most part, they're going to be available in over half of your leagues or just about. Difference in positions. We're going to focus on, I think, catcher eligibility is something we should look at, as well as starting pitching. Joe, what do you want to do?
Well, Matt, would you be interested in a catcher-eligible player that in the month of June is hitting 304 with a 391 OBP and a 607 slugging? Oh, and the OPS is at 998. I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is yes for all of us. And it's actually a guy playing in Oakland. Tyler Soderstrom, of all people, is crushing life right now for the Oakland A's. Now, things were not so good for Soderstrom just a month ago. In the month of May, he hit a $182. But whatever's clicking for this guy right now, he's got 5 homers in the month of June, 12 RBI, again, hitting 304. This is a guy you got to add right now, and he is available in 50% of leagues. So he's out there, folks, and he's loving every minute of it. This is a player right now that you've got to get on your roster and ride the wave of catcher, because catcher offense is sometimes hard to find, especially in those deeper leagues. Sometimes are trickier in terms of 2 catcher leagues, which, again, why anyone's playing 2 catcher leagues still, I'll never know. It's the worst. Why do you hate yourself? Why do you hate your life? Stop playing 2 catcher leagues, please. But Tyler Soderstrom, is he going to keep this up? No. Should you roster him while he's hitting this hot? I think the answer is yes. Right. So when you put those 2 things together, I think it's probably a couple bucks. You can get this guy on your roster, and you're probably going to benefit, at least in the short term. And who knows? Maybe Soderstrom's finally figured things out. This was a guy that was higher up on the prospect trough for the A's. Gelof's been getting hot too, hitting in that 9 hole. That's going to change. He's got a couple home runs this week. All of a sudden, the A's, JJ Bleday, Soderstrom, they're starting to look like a little bit more of an organization that might have something to offer us in fantasy. So that's a good thing. So add this guy this week to your waiver wire claims.
Yep, I like it. I like that we're highlighting Oakland Athletics, which we've done in the past here on the show. Abraham Toro, who just went on, I believe, the IL, Shea Langeliers. We're always going to look to these stores where most people won't even shop, but at the same time, the product is exactly the same, and you're going to get it for a lesser price, so why be silly? All right, let's talk some pitching now, because I think a lot of people took notice when this kid threw up a 13 strikeout performance. He then went again and gave you 3 2/3 and only fanned, I think, 5, and that was against Colorado. But either way, there is a pitcher in Washington which has become this great value to me. The Washington Nationals are a fun team across the board. Talk to me about a young pitcher.
Yeah, DJ Hurts is an interesting piece here because I don't know how long he's going to stay in this rotation, but it is noteworthy whenever somebody goes out there and drops a 13 spot, even if it is against the Marlins. You want to take notice of that. And maybe for a buck or two, you stash him. Now, Josiah Gray's working his way back from injuries, so Hurts could get bounced from this rotation at any time, or Patrick Corbin, you would hope, but
please don't say it.
Probably not, because they're paying Patrick Corbin. So it depends on what the Nats want to do and how quickly they want to say, let's just let the kids play and let's move on from everything that's still holding us back. But I know the Friday start wasn't great. You mentioned 3 2/3. He wasn't very efficient. He got hit around a little bit there. He is going to be at best a 5-inning pitcher, most likely. So Hurts is one of these guys that I'm not trying to spend a lot on, but if you're in a deeper league, I do think it has a little bit of potential there, at least in the short term, as you look ahead. Another guy, too, who's catcher eligible that we talked about previously on the show is Ben Rice, because we were talking about Anthony Rizzo. Yeah. And Anthony Rizzo went on the IL, and Anthony Rizzo has done nothing this year. He looks like another guy who him and Jose Abreu are going to be out potentially on a cruise ship soon together. The Disney cruise, I hear, is beautiful this time of year. But Ben Rice is a player that I've seen play in person in Somerset here, the AA Patriots. It's the Yankee affiliate here. And I'm very impressed with Ben Rice. Good contact hitter, had some good numbers here at AA, got promoted to AAA, and then all of a sudden, boom, now he's up with the big club. And I was kind of intrigued to see how much Ben Rice would play. He's rostered in only 30% of leagues. Sometimes when these kids come up, they're more just, just have a little depth here on the roster and we'll let the veterans kind of play it out here. But I think that behooves the Yankees right now. I think they're in a spot where you want to see what you have in Ben Rice for 2 reasons. Either he's a guy that might be more viable as the season goes on than Anthony Rizzo at this point in both of their careers, or Ben Rice is getting an audition here where another organization might take him off your hands. He is a little older. He's 25, so he's not like your typical 22, 23-year-old prospect. So that could also be a factor in this. Now, he's been blocked by Anthony Rizzo's contract for a while, so there's no reason to move him along. But again, catcher-eligible guys are really interesting, especially in those daily transaction formats where you can have, your catcher out that day, and all of a sudden if Ben Rice is playing first base, hey, get some more ABs. Shane Baz, another guy too, 54% rostered, working his way back. But Matt, you mentioned earlier, as talented as Baz is, a bit of a logjam in that Rays rotation.
Well, here's the thing, Joe and I speak about this often. You have to look at the first 3 or any 3 of a staff to see if they're competitive. So if Baz comes up, and there's nothing left for Baz to prove down there, he's fully recovered, I believe. If Baz comes up, you're looking at something that could be Bradley, Baz, Savali. You have Littell there. You have some other players working their way back from injury. As always, even though it's not sexy, Joe, the Rays are going to be investable down the stretch with good pitching. That's the way. If you're going, you go to certain stores to shop for certain things. If you're going to go for value when it comes to pitching, if you're going to go for low totals, especially at home, you go shopping in the Tampa Rays. And for a while you couldn't do that because they were completely sold out of all the things that we go to that store for. Well, now they're starting to show their identity again. So I can shop there again. Baz is very exciting.
Who's not been exciting? Eugenio Suarez for the Diamondbacks. I know they were trying to fix that third base issue. Last year it was Longoria. This year it's another veteran. He's in a $175 with 3 homers right now. It's not been good. The guy's been terrible. Actually that was over, on the away situation. 6 homers total. Sorry, Eugenio. I cheated you 3 home runs. But there's a player right now who's tearing it up. It's Davison De Los Santos for the Diamondbacks. Between AA and AAA this year, he's hitting .348 with a .401 OBP, a .688 slugging percentage. He's got 21 homers in 65 games. And what's important is he shifted back over to third base when Jordan Lawler got hurt. Lawler was the guy they were grooming to take over for Suarez, but he's out now with a hamstring issue for a while. Add De Los Santos for a buck because he might be up there sooner than you think. And Suarez could be with Rizzo and Abreu. We'll be back after this.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Rory Mack, it's going to be remembered. It will be a lasting image from the 2024 United States Open, just like Bryson DeChambeau's 55-yard bunker shot.
We love big-time winners. Like, you win a championship, we want to hear from you. You get the stage. Sometimes it's emotional. It's a great watch. We know we also love the losers who said, you know what, I just can't believe I folded down the stretch. Let me face the music here. You sort of get a new light there.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Great.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports today. Matt and Joe here discussing some line movement as it applies to some futures awards with Major League Baseball. And what we like to do here is, remember, you're making an investment. So at the beginning of the year, you think player X is going to win this award. You find the best number and you put something down. But these lines move and things change. And just as we were coming on the air, myself, Joe, and the producers were talking about how in this day and age, I think more people choose easy. More people choose convenient than they do what's right, what's nutritious. And the reason I mention this is because you'd rather stop at a fast food place than take a couple of minutes to prepare something that's going to be good. Why do that same thing when, say, the American League Cy Young? If you know it's Corbin Burns and you see that line, why are you stopping off at the Tanner Houcks or the Garrett Crochets of the world just because they're showing you return? I know you'll back it up with statistics, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be nutritious. Corbin Burns is the way to go. Joe, take it from here.
Yeah, look, it's hard to not be Corbin Burns or Tariq Skubal too. Skubbal's not out of this mix. In fact, Skubal went ahead of him this morning. So once again, it is really hard to keep up with this line movement. The lines have been crazy for these awards the last couple of weeks here with some of these injuries. The Mookie Betts one, we're going to talk about that in a second. Skubal had a bad start. All of a sudden, he was behind Corbin Burns, and now all of a sudden, he's in front of Corbin Burns. So now in the morning, you wake up and it's plus 230 for Skubal, plus 290 for Burns. I'm with you. I think the Orioles are the more public team. The Orioles are the better story. I think Burns will eventually win out. And I am a little concerned too about the innings totals for Skubal, who pitched 100 around last year. So what does this year look like when he gets to 130, 140, 150? Is he the same guy? I think so. I hope so. But I don't know so. Whereas I don't have that same concern with Corbin Burns. So all things being equal, and right now they're both basically 2.5 to 1, 3 to 1, somewhere in that range, depending on what book you're at. I think Burns is probably the smarter investment of the two. That being said, Houck has been a great story, not getting enough credit. His ERA has been sterling. Crochet has been fantastic, but he's going to fade eventually. Even if he does go to another team, I don't know how many innings he's got left in his tank. Castillo hasn't been there. Pablo Lopez, some of the other usual suspects for this award have not been present, have not been there. So, yeah, I think it's a two-horse race, and I think Burns is the way I go. I agree with you on this one.
Yeah, listen, you can drive down any street in any town USA and see the things that are offered to you, but the choices you make are important. I think it would be a wonderful world if we drove down the street and you saw, instead of it being fast food, farm fresh, fruit salad. That would be wonderful. That's not the world in which we live. The National League, to me, is far more bountiful street. I think there are far more healthy alternatives in the National League than there are in the American League. Joe, we talked about it when we were looking it over here. This Ranger Suarez number jumps right out, but then Imanaga has a great case at plus 750. Talk to me.
Well, he did until he got obliterated by the Mets on Friday. And it shouldn't matter, but in this line movement, it does. And right now, this movement here, where all of a sudden Ranger Suarez went ahead of Zach Wheeler after Wheeler had his bad start, now Wheeler's ahead of him again at plus 230. Suarez at plus 400. Tyler Glasnow at plus 400. Look, there's another dominant outing from Glasnow. Glasnow is going to hang in this thing all year. And I don't see, Suarez you look at and you can see regression coming. It's almost been too good to be true. Wheeler is always going to be right there. But Glasnow could be this guy, especially this rotation has been a disaster right now for the Los Angeles Dodgers in terms of health. Glasnow kind of stands out on this whole other level, and that should be really considered. Chris Sale in this conversation at plus 700, but Glasnow the most intriguing to me. And then you look at the National League MVP odds, Matt. A lot of movement there. Look at what they were just yesterday. Ohtani plus 130, Harper plus 270, Fernando Tatis plus 750. Yeah. Well, that's moved again. Now Ohtani is minus 120 after another home run he hit yesterday. Bryce Harper plus 230, still really intriguing to me. Freddie Freeman at plus 1,300, tied with Ozuna and Tatis at plus 1,300. So this again seems like a two-horse race. So who would you rather bet on? Ohtani in the minus money or Bryce Harper at plus 230, Matt? I'm curious.
Well, I've had great success with Bryce Harper, and this is, again, a healthy alternative. Yes, it is Ohtani's to lose, but Bryce Harper will get me the bigger return, so I would go with Harper, but I'd hedge and still put something on Ohtani. I just want to point out for those that are looking at Yankee wagers, at Talking Baseball is reporting, and it can be confirmed that John Carlson will hit the IL, so wager accordingly. Let's see what that does to the Yankees, Joe.
Yeah, boy, oh boy. It's all about the team that stays healthy. It's kind of like your fantasy league, right? If you just have a team that stays healthy, chances are you're going to be competing for a fantasy championship. But we want to compete for fantasy football championships too. And I think there's some guys out there that could be league winners. Now, these guys are not in the top 10 necessarily overall, but they are some early round guys that you need to really pay attention to and target. We'll tell you who when we return after this.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Rory Mack, it is going to be remembered. It will be a lasting image from the 2024 United States Open, just like Bryson DeChambeau's 55-yard bunker shot.
We love big-time winners. Like, you win a championship, we want to hear from you. You get the stage. Sometimes it's emotional. It's a great watch. We know we also love the losers who said, you know what, I just can't believe I folded down the stretch. Let me face the music here. You sort of get a new light there.
The early line. only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports today. Matt and Joe with you here, giving you everything you need in order to dominate. It is time to look at the upcoming NFL season where we don't judge people on their appearance. No, on their merit, on their potential, on what they've done. That is what we do here. And it's not about judgment, Joe. It's about identifying these league winners. Now, I'm going to be very careful here. I'm going to let you take it away. Give us your criteria and how you are making these decisions.
Well, these decisions are based on guys that I think are going to make a strong case for winning your league. Now, every year, there's guys like, the Puka Nakuas that come out of nowhere. Nobody thought Puka Nakua was going to be a league winner. They thought it could be a good player. Nobody thought Raheem Mostert was going to have nearly 20 touchdowns. Like these things, there's anomalies and weird things that happen that you can't really gauge. But you can look at the board and say, there's some guys, either in the middle of drafts or even early in drafts that you want to be aggressive on because they're the right selection when the pool presents itself. But going down a little bit further in the quarterback trough here is Jaden Daniels. Now, Jaden Daniels has the rushing equity and the ability to not only be the week one starter, but also make a huge fantasy impact. And I do want him to slide a little bit more on the NFL level. I don't want him to take some shots, right? I think I look at Jaden Daniels as a guy that you're giving him Terry McLaurin, you're giving him some real weapons here to work with, two very capable running backs that help take a lot of pressure off a young quarterback. Ben Sennett, I think, is a really interesting tight end prospect. Dan Quinn, I have a lot of faith in. I think Dan Quinn's a good football coach. I think that sometimes good football coaches the second time around really figure things out. If you look historically, you see a lot of that. So what's so intriguing about Jaden Daniels is in single quarterback leagues, you can be a little aggressive on him and then easily pick up a Justin Herbert, a Kirk Cousins, a Jared Goff, a boring pocket passer to back it up and have two quarterbacks on your roster because injuries do happen at the quarterback position, but you're also basically getting yourself a fringe QB1 already in any of those guys. So if you're looking, all three of those guys I mentioned have all finished as QB1s in the last 2 years at some point. So you're really having your cake and eat it too, because you get all the rushing upside, all the rushing fantasy fun stuff of the rushing touchdowns with Jaden Daniels, and all the safety net if Daniels doesn't work out. It's a little bit more tenuous in Superflex leagues, but in single quarterback leagues, I love the late QB approach of Jaden Daniels and then one of those boring pocket passer guys in good offenses because they're going to have a situation there where you have all the upside and all the floor, and that's a great thing to have, and it allows you to also man that board at RB and wide receiver and go late QB. So Jaden Daniels, if he plays up to snuff there, could be a league winner.
Can hear the smiles coming out of the Beltway. It's been a while, Hogs fans, but let's see. There's something to which we can look forward. All right, now in Green Bay, where they have certainly had their joy, they've had their cake, they've eaten it as well. There's another player you're saying that could make you a league winner.
Yeah, Christian Watson. I think people forget how explosive and how incredible of a player he was. He was hurt a lot of last year. He's had hamstring issues throughout his career. And the interesting thing is this offseason, he has really tried to address this. And I guess what's happened here with these hamstring issues that we've gotten some case of, basically there's a difference between his two hamstrings. So he's learning to train them differently. And this is, look, here's medical science helping an athlete stay on the field, which is great to see, right? This is what we want to see, these guys on the field more. So he is working to get rid of these hamstring issues and figure out what's been bothering him. Because when he's on the field, make no mistake about it, he's more talented than Romeo Doubs. He's more talented than Jaden Reed. Christian Watson is that explosive guy. And if you look at where he's being drafted right now he's the wide receiver 42, and he's the one in terms of talent on this roster. He's got the big touchdown equity. He's got the big explosiveness, all the things you want. It's just a matter of health, and it's only his third year in the league. And I think Watson could be that guy. And when you get excited about watching Jordan Love in the second half last year, who was really just a revelation and was so good in terms of that touchdown to interception ratio, Christian Watson can be one of these guys that really steps up, win you a league. He's being drafted as a wide receiver 4. Come on, that's ridiculous. He could end up being a low-end wide receiver 1. That's the ceiling for this guy, and that could make him a league winner.
All right, moving on to Houston, where there are many mouths to feed. Who eats?
Well, I know Stephon Diggs has been brought in, and I know Tank Dell is a very exciting player, and he's fun. But at the end of the day, Nico Collins is still the go-to guy here. And Nico Collins is being drafted as wide receiver 13, basically, on the board. But I look at Nico, and I see a guy last year that, did not have a stellar opening to the season, but came on so strong at the end. He finished last year with 80 catches, 1,297 yards, 8 touchdowns. And that was with missing a couple games because he only played 15 games. So right. I get that Diggs is around. I get the Tank Dell. I get it. I understand. And I think people kind of overreacting a little bit to all these other pieces. I think Nico proved that he is the main guy. And having those other two guys healthy and on the field can only help Nico work more in single coverage. So Nico Collins, I think, with CJ Stroud, has top 10 upside. And even from 13 to 10, or dare I say even top 5 upside, if this guy has 1,400 yards and ends up with 12 touchdowns, he's going to finish around wide receiver 5, if not better. So think about that. Think about where they're at right now and what you saw to CJ Stroud, and realize that Diggs is not the same player he was even 2 years ago. And it's a new offense, new system. It's going to take him a while to acclimate anyway. His presence on the field is important, but it's Nico Collins that I want to invest in, because I think Nico Collins could be the league winner, where people are chasing, the explosiveness fun of Tank Dell, or maybe the familiar name of Stephon Diggs, and not realizing that Nico Collins, at the end of the day, is actually the guy that is probably the best suited to be the most productive in that offense.
I love it. We're having a lot of fun here now. I'm excited for the upcoming season, but especially from a wagering standpoint, especially for this next team. I'm going to let you highlight a player, but let's go to Atlanta. They're going to be fun, no?
Yeah, there's going to be 2 guys on this list from Atlanta. The first one is Drake London here. And Drake London has had all the target share because, well, he's really good at football. And because there's been nobody else. And nothing's really changed there. Pitts is still around. Bijan's still around. But the number 1 wide receiver on this team is Drake London by a country mile. He is so good. And the problem is he also led the league in uncatchable balls last year. The quarterbacks that he's played with, Marcus Mariota, Taylor Heineke, Desmond Ridder. We're talking about Kirk Cousins now. We're talking about a guy who made, Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson, all these guys absolute studs, right? Drake London now is going to benefit from that scenario. So I'm looking at Drake London, wheels up right now for him. He is being drafted currently at wide receiver 12, and I think that's about right, because I think this guy could win you your league.
All right, so we're getting a great response on social media. So the answer will be yes. On the other side of the break, we're going to continue this conversation with more players that you need in order to win your league. But Joe, with the time left, stretch your legs and talk to us about a young, dynamic receiver.
Yeah, talk about target share going your way. Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 6 on this list is a great one. Marvin Harrison runs the routes, has great hands, has speed, has the polish. He's got it all. And he's also going to have all the targets. So Trey McBride's the other guy that he'll fight with, but he's a tight end. So at the end of the day, this is your alpha dog. And you got to pay for him. There's no discount on him, right? You're getting him at wide receiver 10, and people say, I don't know if I like him at wide receiver 10. Well, look at what's happened to some of these rookie wide receivers when they've had the run of the targets. Look at Jefferson. Look at Jamar Chase. Look at some of these elite level guys who came in the league, had all the target share in front of them, and they exploded. Now, the difference is Marvin Harrison Jr., big time prospect that we've really already acknowledged that he's going to be that guy. So the price is expensive, but that doesn't mean he's not a league winner regardless. So if you're at the turn, right, and you're saying to yourself, man, I don't have Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm not going to get Chase, I'm not going to get CeeDee Lamb, Jefferson, any of these guys. Marvin Harrison might just be a click behind them, but you can draft him at the turn. You can take him and Jahmyr Gibbs or him and a Garrett Wilson type wide receiver, and you are pretty good, and you are set up there for a lot of targets, a lot of upside, a lot of touchdowns. And Kyler Murray has made guys like DeAndre Hopkins just a few years ago into 1,400-yard receivers with double-digit touchdowns. So Murray's capable of that, and I think Harrison's going to hit the ground running because he is an extraordinary talent. There's more talent also that can win you leagues. And when we return here, we're going to go to the top 5 on this list. Now, it's a mix of some veterans, some youth, and some guys that are ready to break out. And we're going to tell you who those names are when we return. You can win your fantasy football league in 2023.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Rory Mack, it's going to be remembered. It will be a lasting image from the 2024 United States Open, just like Bryson DeChambeau's 55-yard bunker shot.
We love big-time winners. Like, you win a championship, we want to hear from you. You get the stage. Sometimes it's emotional. It's a great watch. We know we also love the losers who said, you know what, I just can't believe I folded down the stretch. Let me face the music here. You sort of get a new light there.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Great.
Hey, there's the handoff. Welcome back into FST. It's Fantasy Sports today. Matt and Joe and the entire team having a fantastic time with all of you, just like we do each and every week. Joe, it's not work if you're having fun. And you, my friend, make it fun. So thank you. I've never worked a day in my life with you. We're talking about league winners for the upcoming NFL season. And Joe, you've already highlighted a few, and I'll let you review them. And then we have the big five here. But I also want you to point out to our viewers and listeners, how do you go about a draft, accumulating as many of these 10 players as possible?
Well, look, I'm talking about these guys where if they're going in the first few rounds, you're only going to get one or two of them. But when you have the whole board to yourself, right, and you're out there and you're looking, who are the names there? I'm trying to help you focus in on the ones that I think are actually going to be the most helpful. And it's funny, every year we look at the first round, and some years it looks really good, some years it doesn't. We look at the first 5 rounds and we say sometimes it's really deep, sometimes it's questionable. You look deeper into guys like Christian Watson, that's an easy one. I think when you're looking earlier, you're going to see Derrick Henry go later than normal. Derrick Henry is usually a second-round pick. Sometimes he's going around the 3rd round now. He is the 10th running back off the board. And call me crazy, but when you take the most prolific rusher of the football in the last 10 years, and you put him on the team that has led the league in rushing last year, that wants to run the football, that has to run the football because of the way that they are constructed as a roster, what a fantastic scenario. Now, I understand that he's 30, but Derrick Henry is also a physical specimen, unlike a lot of other running backs. So I don't think his 30 is the same as a 30-year-old running back that is half his size. I think that he is also in a great position to have a ton of goal line looks this year. Lamar Jackson, another year where he has slimmed down, where I don't think you want him working at the goal line as much with that smaller frame. 2 years in a row where Lamar has done that. And don't think that that isn't also part of the fact you got Derrick Henry to run that ball in. I think that's a huge connectivity issue there between those two factors. So I'm looking at Derrick Henry. I know he's not going to catch 80 balls or 50 balls. He's not that kind of running back. But yards are yards and touchdowns are touchdowns. So I don't care if it's a standard league or a PPR league or a half PPR league. I want the guy who's going to get the touches, who has a touchdown equity. And Derrick Henry's still that guy. And you look at that running back board, Kyron Williams with his foot issues are ahead of him. Jonathan Taylor, who had some health issues the last 2 years, is ahead of him. Travis Etienne, who's a nice player, is ahead of him. I don't think he's got the kind of touchdown equity that Derrick Henry has this year. I just don't. So I'm looking at the discounted Derrick Henry, and people say, well, he can't lead the league in rushing, at 30. Well, Barry Sanders did it at 29. So let's not pretend like it's not impossible to do.
Wow.
So again, Barry Sanders, a little different than the average Bear. I think the same thing when it comes to Derrick Henry. So I'm looking at Derrick Henry in the third round is your hero RB, potential league winner kind of guy.
Yep, I like it, and I, for one, already have in the back of my mind to be reaching for certain players. Derrick Henry is certainly reachable considering all of the new issues, the ecosystem around this great player. This other player as well. Now, last season, a lot of people were soured on him, but you're a part of a very small but growing voice in the community that are really championing this player on Atlanta.
Tony Gonzalez, Shannon Sharp, Ozzie Newsome. What do all these guys have in common? They're all Hall of Fame tight ends. What else do they have in common? It took them 3 to 4 years for them to break out in the National Football League. Now, Kyle Pitts already has a 1,000-yard receiving season under his belt. Kyle Pitts is still a freak of nature physically. But just like Drake London, he was still playing with all of those same quarterbacks that could not facilitate offense. Mariota, Ritter, Heineke, etc., etc. Now he's playing with Kirk Cousins. Health was an issue last year for Kyle Pitts. The amazing thing is, year over year, his ADP basically hasn't moved, but his quarterback situation has gotten markedly better. So I don't understand why this is happening, except for the fact that people are hurt because the last 2 years they drafted Kyle Pitts, and I was screaming from the rooftops, who will love Kyle Pitts. Don't do this to yourself. It's a bad situation because he doesn't have the quarterback play to make him great. Well, now he does. And now we're in a spot here where he could be the second guy in target share, and Kyle Pitts could be a massive red zone threat as long as he stays healthy this year. This could be that breakout that I talked about with those other tight ends. Sometimes it just takes a little bit longer in the cooker, and I think Kyle Pitts is one of those guys. So I'm looking at Kyle Pitts as a guy that can win your league in 2024.
I love that you said a little bit longer in the cooker. So for those that don't know, Joe is a very, very amazing chef. He takes care. Anyone out there knows sometimes just an extra few minutes on something that you're cooking or baking really makes the difference. We live in a world where everyone is just so impatient. We want it now, now, now. Just a little bit more patience. Joe is right. All right, with the time remaining, we have 3 great names here. And honestly, Joe, if I miss out on Derrick Henry, I would not mind having one of these 2 names at the top, and then I'll let you discuss. But there are 3 names here that can change someone's draft. Take it away.
Yeah, and look, these aren't necessarily discount names. I want to reiterate that. We'll talk about the sleepers and all that stuff. We're talking about league winners, okay? Guys that are really going to step up every week for you. Saquon Barkley has a chip on his shoulder, something to prove, is now playing with the best offensive line he's ever played with, best quarterback situation he's ever played with, best offense he's ever played with. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to run the ball. He's going to run the ball at the goal line because I got news for you. With Jason Kelce gone, you're not going to see nearly as much brotherly shove, I think, in 2024 as successfully as you've seen it in the past. Saquon Barkley is in town to be that all-purpose running back, and I think Saquon Barkley is primed to have possibly the best year of his career. And I know he's been a couple years in the league, and I know he's gotten hurt, but you're getting him at a discount this year, and I look at him as a top 3 potential back. He could challenge for the Christian McCaffrey #1 spot. I'm not saying he's going to get there, but he could challenge for it. Right. Jahmyr Gibbs. Everyone telling me, oh, Jahmyr Gibbs, he still got Montgomery there. He still had 10 rushing touchdowns and almost 1,000 yards, despite the fact people wanted to drop him last year, 6 weeks into the season. Not trade, drop him because they had no patience. This guy was unbelievable in the second half. He showed you he's a rock star superstar. Montgomery's had some injury issues of his own. He is that dude. And last but not least, Anthony Richardson, who could break fantasy. I'm telling you, this guy from a rushing standpoint, a throwing standpoint, he's got a big arm. He's a big-bodied guy. He's fast. He's strong. He showed you how good he could be. He could change the fantasy position at quarterback. He is that good. Again, Shane Steichen, one of the best offensive minds in football. It's a good situation for him. The upside is QB1 overall, and that's not being hyperbolic. So those are my league winners in 2024. And, of course, you can let us know who yours are on social media. We'll be back for more FST.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Rory Mack, it is going to be remembered. It will be a lasting image from the 2024 United States Open, just like Bryson DeChambeau's 55-yard bunker shot.
We love big-time winners. Like, you win a championship, we want to hear from you. You get the stage. Sometimes it's emotional. It's a great watch. We know we also love the losers who said, you know what, I just can't believe I folded down the stretch. Let me face the music here. You sort of get a new light there.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Great.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports. Today, please put your seat backs in the upright position, store your tray tables. We are about to land this thing, as we say. Joseph, Fantasy Sports today isn't just about strategy. It's about an overall look at sports, wagering, fantasy, and life. Just dominating life. We talked some football. Let's bring it back. Close it out with baseball. The two-start pitcher segment is vital because in a lot of leagues where you cannot make those daily changes, you set a pitcher and he's got two starts. You got to ask yourself if you're willing to go for that ride. So let's strap in and see. What do we got?
Yeah, we got Chris Bassett for two starts. The two starts are on the road against the Boston Red Sox and Brian Bayo, and at home against the Yankees and Nestor Cortez. So these are two tougher matchups, I think, here for Chris Bassett. But Bassett has pitched well. I mean, he's 6-6, 3.52 ERA, 81 strikeouts. Now, here's the thing. I would throw him in both of these games, and here's why. You're still getting good peripherals from him. Win potential is going to be tough. Bo Bichette's out of this lineup too, so now you're missing even more. The bullpen's been depleted. We mentioned Chad Green going to take over for saves because Romano had a setback, and Yimi Garcia's on the IL now too. So it's going to be tough for him to come out away with 2 wins in this. I don't see that happening. But can he give you some strikeouts? Can he go through here and give you some points? I think the answer is yes. Looking at his last start, he was against Boston here, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks for him on this past Tuesday. It was a good start for him. He only gave up 2 earned runs. He's only given up 6 earned runs in the month of June over his 4 starts. He went 8 innings 2 weeks ago against the Oakland A's. So to me, I think we're feeling pretty good about this. And his last start against the Yankees was way back in April, in the 15th. And that was a pretty good start against them too. So I think I do start him, even though the situation might not be ideal. What about you? Are you starting him against the Red Sox and the Yankees this week?
So it's a hard no for me, Joe, and it's based on a few things. First and foremost, it's going to be the tone in your voice. Did you guys hear there was a lot of he laughs, and you might laugh
my
too.
own tone against me.
We're at a point in our lives, we're at a point in the season where if we accept that, then we set the standard low. Demand excellence, folks. Demand excellence from the people around you in your life. Demand excellence from everything that you do, and you'll be surprised. It's kind of like start hanging out with millionaires, and all of a sudden you get some good things happen to you. The Chris Bassett thing, what am I getting here? There's no path to wins. Joe outlined that eloquently. Well, no, an innings pitched, a few strikeouts. No, if your voice goes, that is not bold and that is not excellent. So the answer is no. Next is James Paxton. You going to come with excellence or are you going to come with mediocrity?
I am going to come here with James Paxton and the Dodgers. And the Dodgers are still a formidable lineup taking on the White Sox, but it is Garrett Crochet, who has been very good. And then on the road for a second start against Spencer Howard and the San Francisco Giants. Again, it's hard not to start a guy going twice who are pitching for the Dodgers. So I'm going to begrudgingly go with James Paxton, who was good in his last 2 starts. I know the one before that, not so much, but again, I don't know. He's using my own tone against me. I feel like he's going to do it again to me, and he's not going to want to start Paxton, but I would still start him here. It's the next guy, Cade Povich, against the Cleveland Guardians and Tanner Bybee, and then against the Texas Rangers, that I don't feel as good about that matchup. I think Povich is a guy that I would not throw out there for both starts. But what about you? Paxton, Povich, who would you rather start this week if you had both those guys, but only had room for one?
Great. Good question. It would be Paxton, just based off of the offensive ecosystem, as well as the path to wins. And I understand that, but when you look at the matchups here, the Dodgers can handle the White Sox. They can handle the Giants. When you look at Baltimore, Cleveland is a very good baseball team, incredibly underrated. I can see a close one there where Baltimore may lose that game, and I do believe they can handle Texas. Although, Joe, you pointed out, and I'll close it up, Texas is starting to get hot, and some of those bats are starting to come around as well. So there you go.
They're going to. Texas, again, I think collectively that's a buy low for me. What a fun show today. We did a little baseball, a little football, a little bit of everything. And, of course, stay on SportsGrid for all of our amazing coverage all day long, in-game live. So many things happening today in the world of sports. You got the soccer going on. You got baseball going on.
Soccer.
What a time to be alive. And hopefully it is hot out there. You find a way to stay cool today if you're on the East Coast. It's a hot one out there. Great stuff from our team too, our graphics team, our production team here. Top notch at SportsGrid as always. Can't do it without them. We tried once. It didn't work out well. It wasn't good. So we have them every single week now to make sure we get there. And of course, without you watching every single week. So join us next week again, same time, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Matt and I'm going to take you through the world of baseball and football. Get you ready for all your fantasy leagues. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Matt, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Enjoy your Sunday.
You got Porzingis, you got Holiday, you got Derek White, you got literally, I would say what, 5 guys can get you 20 points in a game?
I know people will say it's, only one guy. I don't believe that, Coach, that, one guy, those days are over, in my opinion. Like, a Bill Russell, a Wilt Chamberlain.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So we go game board, game results, rookie of the year, side by side, make the playoffs, game board.
Your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Test.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, look, don't come back. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.